Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Amy here. I just finished a day of work, so it's like, you know, just that good feeling after you finish the day, the work for the day. Well, for my, 8-hour day job anyway. Anyway, welcome to my channel. Amy here. Today we're going to talk about my December wrap up. All the books I read in December, we're going to talk about those books. Most of those books were Christmas mail romances. I tried to stay in kind of the theme of Christmas. And I pretty much did for the most part of December, except for maybe a couple books. But anyway, we'll start off with a mail fantasy paranormal. This is Needing the Kraken. This is the 6th and final book in the Cursed Merman series by Aramis Jordan. So in this book, we get the story of the Sea Witch. Finally, I was super excited to get this story. This was also sent to me as an ARC from the author. So thank you very much, Aramis, for sending me that ARC. I did enjoy our Sea Witch's story. So we have Malik. Malik is our Sea Witch, and he can turn himself into an octopus, basically, half man, half octopus. But we learn a little bit more about Malik in this story, and I was so excited, so happy with just Malik's background and how he became the Sea Witch. So yes, there's a little bit of a backstory there. There's also a little bit of a twist into Malik himself, which I was super enjoying. And then we have Sebastian, who is basically Malik's love interest in this story. Sebastian has a difficult background as well. I really did enjoy his story as well. So the characters together, I love them. I love their chemistry with each other. Throughout the book, and the stories behind each of them and how they evolved into their relationship and how each of them, I guess, kind of took the other for who they were. So yes, Sebastian has a little bit of a complicated past, as well as Malik. So it's like they're kind of almost the perfect couple. Sebastian is on the run in the beginning of this book. So they meet because Malik takes him in. And then we get to know a little bit more about each of our characters, and then how, of course, like I said, how their relationship starts to grow. My personal issue with this story is there was only one little part of Malik's story, I guess, that I had a little bit of an issue with. I don't want to get into it too much here in case you want to read the book itself. But then we also get into the fact that this also has to do with tentacle play. So this is a very highly sexual book. Lots of sex scenes in here, and I find throughout the series, these sex scenes have gotten just more and more and more just like outrageous. And this is just in my opinion. I am no prude by any means whatsoever, but I guess there is only so much I can comprehend and take as far as like where the sex is gonna go. The tentacle play was fine. I had nothing against it at all. There was one scene that I almost could not continue to read because I just felt like no. And then in general, when we actually got towards the end of the book, the sex scenes started to get even more, and just, in my opinion, just a little bit more ridiculous of where Malik and how it's so hard to word this without giving anything away. But just in the fact of how Malik and Sebastian's relationship grows towards the end of the book, and how they want to become a family, I guess I can say. There was just a little bit of ridiculousness, in my opinion, I found to the story, and it really, really hurts to say that because I love Malik and Sebastian's story. So honestly, I did kind of skip over boast of the ending of, because it was just getting a little bit too out of hand. I skipped over into like the I guess the epilogue of the book of like after events took place, and I was really glad about that, because we do meet Sebastian. I mean, do we meet Sebastian in the book before this one? Or maybe we just hear about Malik and his partner or his companion coming into, I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, so the epilogue kind of picks up where the 5th book, I believe, ends. Yes. So yeah, and it was hard to rate this book as well. But I guess because of the fact that I skipped over a good bit and I really was not vibing with that part of Malik and Sebastian's relationship, I decided on a 3-star. Just in general, I love the story between Sebastian and Malik, and I love that their stories separately as well. Aramis Jordan is a fantastic writer, and I'm not one to really read like these high type fantasies or even paranormal type of male-male romances. I'm usually like basic male-male romance. But I do like to broaden my horizons every now and then. And this series has really broadened my horizon, and I was actually really shocked at how much I enjoyed the series. Except for the fact that some of the sex scenes as the books lead up into our final book, the sex scenes just seem to get a little bit more intense and involved, and just a lot. And that's just my opinion. Otherwise, I love the storytelling, the writing, the characters. I fell in love with it all from the beginning from book 1. And still, I was not disappointed in Malik's, as far as like Malik's story itself. I really enjoyed the little twists we get into who Malik really is, and that he found love. I really enjoyed that. So anyway, I'm rambling on about this book because I have so many feelings towards it, and I didn't really know how I was going to express that in this wrap up. But like I said, all in all, 3-star. I enjoyed the story and the writing just in general. And I do recommend the series if you're into that, or if you want to broaden your horizons in the male-male romance category. Give it a go. I recommend it. My favorite are the first 2 books out of the series. Next up, we have Christmas Wishlist. This is by N.R. Walker. This is actually the 2nd book in a little Christmas series that N.R. Walker has for us. It's the Heartbridge Christmas series, book 2. I did not get to book 3, which actually came out in 2022. So hopefully I'll get to that one next year, because I've really been enjoying these little stories. N.R. Walker is fantastic author. So here we have Jaden and Carter, or Cass was his nickname. Cass actually, I think we meet him in the first book. And he inherited this house / mansion from his grandmother, and he's sort of like rebuilt it into a bed and breakfast. He is opening it up for the first time I can't talk. He is opening it up for the first time for the Christmas holidays, and he's looking for a chef. Well, he actually does hire a chef to come in and just give his customers a great meal while they're there. So in comes Jaden. Jaden is a chef, and I think Jaden is just kind of trying to find his way, trying to find his place. So he does take on this little job before he moves on to finding, maybe something new and better. So anyway, this is how Jaden and Cass meet. Cass actually comes from a divorced marriage, and he has like 2 kids. So he's always known he's preferred men, but he kind of kept it to himself for a while until he decided he didn't want to live like that anymore. but since his wife, he has not really been with another man. So we have a little bit of first time in a long time kind of situation here with Cass. And of course, Jaden is there to help him experiment with whatever he wants to experiment with. It was just a fun little Christmas story. So yeah, they kind of sway away from each other because they're employee, and employer. But they decide they're just gonna have fun for the Christmas holiday. Jaden will be moving on anyway, no strings attached. Just have a little fun. So yeah, it was just a cute little love story between the two guys. Very short and sweet little story. I did listen to this on audio. It was read by Glenn Lloyd. He did a fantastic job with his Australian accent. I don't know, maybe his accent is Australian, I'm not sure, but he did a very good impression of an English accent or an American accent as well. So really enjoyed the narration to this story. I gave it 4 stars. Then I picked up a Book of the Month pick. This is The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. Catherine Steadman also narrated this book as well. Fantastically done. She has a very haunting voice. Almost is very similar to Imogen Church, who narrates a lot of Ruth Ware's books. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic reading, fantastic writing. I couldn't put this down. So we have Harry or Harriet. She is an author herself, and she is also dating a very eligible bachelor, I should say. His name is Edward. Look at my notes. Edward Hallbeck. Edward Hallbeck. Edward is a little bit estranged from his family. But somewhere in here, the family contacts Harry, and they sort of start getting involved back into Edward's family. And Harry discovers some very odd things about this family. There's a lot going on in this book. It's hard for me to talk about all the doings without giving anything away. This does take place over the holiday season, so we start with Thanksgiving through the New Year's. And the family likes to play these games. But as she gets to know Edward's family a little bit better over these little dinners that they're having over the holidays, she starts to wonder about this family's past. So she does a little bit of investigating into this family. But the family also has done maybe a little investigating into her, and Harry has a little bit of a dark past herself. Like I said, there was a lot going on in this book. Lots of twists and turns, just lots of characters that I didn't know who I could trust. I didn't even know if I could trust Harry herself. It was very gripping, kept me on the edge of my seat, very suspenseful. I loved it. Then I picked up You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince, and this is by Timothy Janowski. This was also a very, very cutesy little male-male romance. Love the cover of this book. It was giving me all the vibes. So we have Matthew here, Matthew Prince. He's a spoiled brat. What can you say? He's used to getting his way. After acting out over a breakup that he had between 2 other men, his parents decide to send him away to his grandparents' house for the holiday season. And they live in a little bitty small town where everyone knows everything. Matthew is not used to this. Matthew is used to big city, expensive things, and here he is in this country little town sharing a room with someone else as well. So here in comes Hector Hernandez. He is living with Matthew's grandparents so he can continue going to school, and he's also helping around the house. It was a very rocky relationship in the beginning with these 2 characters. They did not like each other at all. Total opposite. But the more they hung out and the more Matthew got used to the little town and the people, he really started to enjoy his time there. There is a little bit of a twist to Matthew's story as to why he was sort of, I guess, like sent away. Not only, you know, because of what he did, the extravagant thing that he did, but for other reasons as well. So we get to know a little bit more about Matthew's background the further we get into the book, and just how this little town has really brought out the best in Matthew, and I really enjoyed how their relationship grew throughout the book, and I enjoyed how Matthew grew throughout the book as well. Very, very cute. I did also listen to this on audio. It was narrated by Mark Sanderlin, and he did a fantastic job. 5 stars. Okay, next up we have The Holiday Trap. This is by Roan Parrish. I gave this 3 stars on Goodreads, but I believe my final and true rating for this book is about a 2.5. I actually did not read part of this book. So there was 2 romances going on in this book, and I was all for it. We have a male-male as well as a female-female romance taking place. I did enjoy the male-male romance over the female-female, and not because male-male is just my go-to romance read. I really didn't like the characters of our female characters, basically. And I just couldn't, I don't know, I couldn't vibe with their relationship. I just couldn't get into their story at all. I thought their love story happened way too fast. Our male-male romance that takes place did happen maybe a little bit too fast, but not as fast as the female-female. It wasn't the best by Roan Parrish. I've read so much better. But anyway, we have Greta, and then we have Truman. They have a mutual friend, Ramona. So we also, throughout this book, we also get some little inserts of like Ramona's wise words to her friends. I believe like she sends out a text message. They end up doing like a house swapping thing. Greta lives, oh, I forget where Greta lives, but Truman is from New Orleans. Greta loves taking care of plants, so she has plants all throughout her apartment or house. I don't remember what she has. And I believe one of them looks like it might be dying, so Truman takes it to the local flower shop, and this is where he meets his love interest in the book, whom I have forgotten the name of. I've also forgotten Greta's friend as well. One thing I did not like about this house swap thing, and I don't know if this is spoiler, so I'm gonna give you a moment right here in case you don't want to listen to this. So, possible spoiler. Truman leaves his dog in New Orleans and for Greta to take care of while she's there. Now, I understand the whole plant thing. You can't take your plants anywhere, so of course Truman is going to take care of her plants. But if I was swapping and I had a pet, I would take my pet with me. I'm just saying, especially a dog, because I just feel like that would just throw him off, having a strange person in his home, and yeah, I just feel like this dog would not take it very well. I don't know. I didn't vibe well with that part of the story, even though it's a very minor part of the story. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. So, okay, spoiler done. So yeah, I can't really tell you much about Greta and her partner story because I actually stopped reading it like right after their first encounter. Like I said, I just wasn't vibing with them. But I really like the whole Truman story where he meets his love interest in the flower shop. I like the whole flower shop thing. I really liked the guy that he was with, even though I can't remember his name, but he seemed like just like very sweet. Yeah, I can't remember hardly anything really about a lot of this book. I skipped over a good bit. I tried to just read Truman's story, and there was also a part of Truman's story that I didn't understand as well. So like Truman is doing this house swap because he's just in a situation right now with his I guess former partner. That it was like never made that they broke up. He just like ups and leaves out of New Orleans, and we never hear from this guy that he was with. So like, I mean, I get the situation that the other guy's in, but does that guy just like not even gonna worry about like Truman? And then of course Truman didn't even contact this guy. It was a mess. I'm gonna stop butchering it. Anyway, 2.5 stars, 2.5 stars. I didn't care for it. I did listen to that book as well, sorry, and it was read by a cast of characters, which I did enjoy, the cast of characters, although I honestly didn't enjoy the voice for our female character. Felt like she was very whiny. Okay, next up we have A Very Merry Christmas. This is by Lucy Lennox. This is actually part of the Maid Marian series. This is number 7 in the series. It can be read as a standalone, but I did get a little confused in the beginning because when the book starts, we meet a lot of the Marians, and it was a little confusing at who was who and trying to keep up with who was who in the very beginning, because it's sort of like a prologue kind of thing where I guess Lucy Lennox wanted us to meet the characters from the Marian crew. I might need to go back and read the series. I haven't heard of it until now, but anyway, very cute little love story we had here. So we have Noah, who's new in town. He was an RN in Canada, but he has decided, after coming out of a bad relationship, he has decided that he wants to move. He wants to move to San Francisco. This is where he's always wanted to be, and just meet more people. So while he's waiting to get his license to be in the States, he takes on like this little job that he's selling sex toys for. It's very comical. And then we have Luke. Luke is a friend of Noah's brother, older brother. So Noah will be staying with Luke until he like gets his feet on the ground, gets his RN certification in the States and all that good stuff. Luke is a lawyer. He seems very much like a player kind of guy. Doesn't really want a relationship. It's just, he's just one and done kind of thing. And he's always looked at Luke as more like just, you know, protecting him, like, you know, sort of like being his big brother. But when Luke moves in with him and they start to hang out more, they start to get feelings for each other, of course. So I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. I enjoyed both characters separately and together. It was funny, it was entertaining, it was Lucy Lennox. I loved it. This was also narrated by Michael Dean, so it was just perfect. Okay, I think I might save this for last. Okay, let's go on to The Passenger. This is by Lisa Lutz. This was okay. I gave it 3 stars. We are basically just following a character who is changing who she is everywhere she goes. In the beginning, she finds her husband dead at the bottom of the stairs, and from there, she takes off running. So is she innocent in all this? Did she really kill her husband? She basically goes on the run, and we learn throughout the story that this might not be her first rodeo. She takes on different names. She comes across different people. There is a fun little twist at the end, but honestly, throughout the story, I was a little bit bored. I didn't pay much attention to everything that was happening. We are just following, who is our main character? What is her name? I think her real name is Tanya, but that's not who we go by. And then we also get these letters in the midst of the story, and they're calling themselves R and Joe. So they're writing letters back to each other, or maybe emails. So we're getting those little inserts in the midst of the story, which I really did like. I did listen to this. It was narrated by Madeline Maybe, who did a fantastic job at narrating. Narration was great. I just didn't really care. I mean, the story was okay. It was okay. I don't want to say I didn't care for it, because I did. I finished listening to it. I wanted to see basically where we were going with this. Did she do it, first of all? Who was all involved? Because there's so many characters we meet along the way that could possibly be involved with, you know, whatever is happening. So yeah, it was like I said, it was okay, but I did get a little bit bored here and there. But overall, 3 stars. Then we have Christmas on Firefly Hill. This is by Garrett Lee. This was really good. Really, really good. 5 stars. A bit of a slow burn. I fell in love with both our characters just separately and together. I was rooting for them the whole time. It was a very beautiful story. So we have Logan. We meet Logan and Remy. Logan and Remy meet very briefly in the beginning of the book. Remy is like this dancer with these flaming batons, and then we have Logan, who is a firefighter, who is at this event, or at this festival, I believe is what it is, where he is, you know, on guard to see, or on the job in the hopes that nothing catches on fire, and he's there to save the day if anything does. So this is how they meet. They have a very sweet, sort of romantic meet greet, or meet cute, I don't know what you'd call it, and that just sort of just like sparked the story. So of course we get each of their point of views. We get Logan's point of view as well as Remy's point of view. Events have taken place where Remy is left living in his van, and he rents out this workshop because he has his own Etsy shop where he makes different things with pennies. So he's renting out a workshop where he not only works, but he also sleeps. And the guy that he's renting from, I believe like his nephew, actually like kind of runs the workshop. It's just a place to rent. But Logan, you know, deals with the money situation. So of course he goes up there to meet the new tenant, and it's Remy, and just, you know, sparks start to fly again. They get to know each other. Logan is a divorced dad of 2 twin little boys. He is bisexual, I guess. So for him, it's been a while since he's been with a man as well as Remy. So their sexual tension between each other for the most part at the beginning of the book was, it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful story. They both have beautiful stories on their own, and then coming together. I loved it. I really did. Even though the Christmas season is gone and past us, I highly recommend pick it up if you feel like reading something Christmassy. It doesn't really have much. It just takes place over the Christmas, I guess, holiday, I guess. So there is like a little Christmas here and there, but for the most part, it's just a great love story, a beautiful love story between these two guys, and I just highly recommend it. Okay, then we have Saving April by Sarah Denzil. This is the book that I feel like I don't know what's going on. Let me take off this light back here. I feel like I'm in a shadow. It is getting darker. Okay, that's a lot better. I just felt like there's a halo coming off of me, and we don't need all that. Okay, this is the book that I talked about that people were saying AJ Finn stole the story from. Now after reading this, I can very well see where that came from. The stories are very, very, very similar. The scenarios are slightly different. We follow different characters. In AJ Finn's book, I believe we only follow Anna. But our names are also very similar. So we have Anna in The Woman in the Window, and here we have Hannah. Anna had a phobia of going outside. Hannah, who basically just suffers from very high anxiety and possibly PTSD. Differently from Anna in The Woman in the Window, we know Hannah has possibly had maybe a traumatic past, where in The Woman in the Window, we don't really know why Anna is the way she is, but we have an idea here that something traumatic has happened. But anyway, we also follow Laura. Laura is the wife of the family across the street that Hannah is watching. We also get little excerpts from April a little bit. April also is a little bit of a troubled character in this book. I don't remember, I think it was the son in The Woman in the Window that was possibly a troubled young man, but we do get a very troubled young woman here, and we get more of why she is in here. Like I feel like this story was more involved in both Hannah and Laura's lives. Like we just get a little bit more of what's happening with Laura and her family than I feel that we did with Woman in the Window from the family that she was watching across the street. Anyway, besides all the similarities, I honestly preferred The Woman in the Window. I gave this 4 stars because I wasn't into it as much as I was with The Woman in the Window. I was really drawn to our character Anna in The Woman in the Window, and I loved her, and I loved her characteristics about her, and and then the whole twist on Anna was just fantastic. Where in this one, it was just I don't want to say like a normal psychological thriller. It is like a psychological thriller, and it was very good, very, very good. But I was more into The Woman in the Window than I was with Saving April. But it was still very good, and I highly recommend you read it. If you want to know the differences between the two, you might prefer Saving April over The Woman in the Window. Now, whether AJ Finn stole this story from Sarah Denzel, I don't know, but it's very similar, very, very similar, just different scenarios, I guess, and different characters. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Saving April, but I really did like it, and I do recommend, or if you don't want to pick up The Woman in the Window, I do recommend this one. This was narrated by Sophie McShera. Fantastic narration, fantastic. Okay, that does it for the books that I read for the month of December. I did DNF 2 books for the month of December. The first one is Got Me Mary by Casey Cox. I tried, I really did try, but it was really cheesy. This is the 6th book actually in the Vet Shop Boys series by Casey Cox. I didn't care for the narration. I've heard better from this narrator. It was narrated by John Solo. And I didn't like the way he portrayed these 2 characters. I don't know what it was. I couldn't get into them. I couldn't get into the story. I can't even really remember tell you what it was about, other than it's about, I think, like 2 best friends who maybe live with each other. They're going to college. They're both going to school to be vets, and they are both trying to get into the same intern with the Vet Shop Boys. So of course we kind of meet all a little bit of the characters from the vet shop, and then the whole like point of the story I just felt was a little cheesy. I don't know. And then I also tried The Widowmaker. This is by Hannah Morrissey. I believe this is the 2nd book in a series. Yes, the 2nd book in the Black Harbor series, but you can read them as standalones. I did not read the 1st book. I think the 1st book is called Transcribe or Transcript. I don't remember. It came out earlier this year, or last year, I believe. I thought it was going to be more than what it was. I thought, because we have a photographer that's going into this home of this rich family to take pictures, I believe, actually like Christmas pictures, I believe. From the synopsis, it seems that she learned some dark secrets from this family's past. I don't know. I thought it was going to be more into like this family and what was going on with them, and what she found out and how she found. I don't know what I was thinking, but it wasn't that. It was more of a detective type story. I'm not a huge detective story reader. I have read a few that I have liked, but I didn't get very far in this one to even tell you what it was about. Okay, that is it, y'all. Those were all the books that I read in the month of December or DNF'd. Let me know your thoughts on all these books in the comments below. Have you read The Woman in the Window? Have you read Saving April? Are you going to read them now? What are your thoughts? Let me know all the things in the comments down below. What were your favorite reads in the month of December? I hope you're all enjoying the new year of 2023. I still can't believe that, 2023. But coming up next, I'm gonna start breaking down my 2022 year in books for y'all. My favorites, my not so favorites, all the good things will be coming your way very, very soon. So look forward to those videos. Hope you're all doing well out there. Thank y'all so much for watching as always. Hugs from me all around y'all, and I'll see you very soon in a new video. Bye y'all.